Hello, welcome. Okay, this is not a live recording because I did not hit record for the first hour of the workshop. So the good news is I'm recording this special for you. I would like to thank all of you that did show up live. We had visitors from all over the world. And right now, though, we're going to get into the information. So welcome to the Revenue Shift Workshop. This is the place where we're going to help you launch a profitable online program to bring more money to break through those 2 to 4 or 3 to 5K revenue months and hit 5 to 10K revenue months online. I'm Dr. Elsa McLean. I'm a physical therapist, yoga teacher, massage therapist, and coach, the owner of Ignite Your Wellness Business, where I help wellness practitioners get profitable online. So here's the agenda for this first hour. I'm going to go over why this is important. Then we're going to go over the 3 strategies on how to get online and bring in additional revenue. I am going to tell some case studies so you can see that this doesn't just work for me, it's worked for a lot of my clients as well. And I share examples of those. And then in the second workshop video, you'll hear the part 2 of the 3 strategies. You'll have the special offer to join me in the 100K online practice blueprint, and we do go over Q&A. So if you feel like you've hit an income ceiling, maybe you're stuck at 3 to 5K revenue months, your body feels tired, or you feel like you're driving around from class to class, or maybe you're a mobile therapist, person to person, and you're exhausted, but you want to bring in more revenue and you're not sure how because there's no more time in your schedule. Maybe you have an online program and you've tried marketing online, but you're not getting many students reaching out on Instagram, for example, or for YouTube. You're not sure how to convert and you don't have a strategy. You've hosted workshops and they always fill and people say that they love you, but they're not converting to online programs. And it's frustrating because you do get requests. You want to help more people, but when you get requests for people that are not in your local community, you don't know what to do with them because you don't have an online offer ready. And maybe you're licensed by your state and you're not even sure if you can help them. And because of all this, you don't have reliable revenue coming in. It doesn't feel consistent. And for sure, you don't know how to scale and grow it. So I know you're really wanting 10K plus months. I know you know it's possible. You're just not sure. You want to add more revenue without adding more sessions. You want a clear way to help people online, and you want to be able to serve and help more people. You're in the right place. And this is so important because I've seen this by having a lot of conversations on Instagram. My clients, when they're first coming to me, they're feeling really tired and exhausted. And a lot of practitioners rely on one-to-one sessions, and that's not bad. I still do one-to-one sessions, and actually, I love them. But I have my online offer, so it is scalable, and I have freedom with my schedule and time. The problem with a lot of wellness practitioners where they are is that they're capped by their body, they're capped by their time, and they're capped by their location. And this is a problem because a lot of wellness practitioners are quitting. And I know you don't want that because you spent a lot of money on your certifications, you spent a lot of money on your degrees and your knowledge, and you want to help people. And it's a disservice for you if you stop because you're exhausted and you feel like there's nowhere to go. And it doesn't serve your people because they're not getting the help that they need. But I want you to know this is not your fault. It's just the model that you were taught. You were not taught in certifications or school on how to grow a profitable revenue. You learned, I learned this from my mentors. I learned this from school. The way to do it was through back-to-back sessions, through taking insurance and getting paid at low rates. We were taught to if you wanted to add more hours, you needed to add in more clients. And I've talked to practitioners with 30 and 40 one-to-one sessions a week. That's not sustainable. You were told to chase referrals, to, do lunch and learns, but those aren't consistent. And you can never rely completely on referrals because they're unpredictable. You never know if a doctor's office is going to close. There goes your referrals. You never know if a client is going to refer you someone and you never want to pressure them. And social media, you're taught that it's not reliable marketing. It's not true marketing, but in fact, it can be. So the problem is that you were never taught how to grow a business outside that one-to-one, back-to-back, or insurance-based model. And in fact, you probably worked, I know I worked for a lot of clinics. I worked as a massage therapist in a mill clinic where it was back-to-back. I worked as a yoga teacher for $35 a class, driving all around town. I worked as a physical therapist in an insurance-based grind where I had to treat 5 patients at one time, and it was discouraged that I go in and do manual therapy. So we were taught in schools, we were not taught another way. And then the businesses that we worked for are also set up that way. But here is the truth, is that we want to break this. You can be the practitioner. You can use my story as living proof that there is another way to do things. We don't have to run in this model of exhausting ourselves to the ground and barely making ends meet. You can help more people. You can create generational wealth for your family. You can pay off your loans instead of waiting 20 to 30 years. And you can have money for certifications, because I'm a big proponent to keep learning. And you don't have to do it through hustle, hustle, hustle. And the problem isn't your skill set. Okay, the problem is not getting more certifications to solve this exact problem. When you're getting certifications, you want to use certifications for getting your clients results. Certifications do not bring in the clients. What brings in the clients is business skills and business strategies. And that's what we're going over today. And then you learn the certifications to give you confidence to charge something and say, hey, yes, come to my program. I can help you. I feel confident because I have all these modalities and tools in which I can help you to get results. But you weren't taught how to actually make money in a digital space. So if we look at a new model that's not outdated, that's not relying on insurance or back-to-back or a grind or a hustle, it's helping with freedom. It's a hybrid model where you are working some of the time online if you want, some of the time in person. That's what I did for a long time. I love my in-person people. I still have some in person now. I'm about 98% online. Like I might have a couple weeks with no people in person, and then I might have a week with one or a week with 4. I have some people that have been with me for, 10, 15 years, and I love working with them. But right now, where I am in my business, most 98% of my revenue comes from online. But, a few years ago, I was more like 50-50. 50% of my revenue came from online and 50 came from in person. So you don't have to be black or white and choose only one or another. You can have a hybrid option. You can go 100% in on online, but you do need an offer with a clear result. You need packages that include more touch points, more ways to help your people outside of one-to-one. And we'll talk about what that looks like today. You need a way to charge a price that helps you to meet your revenue goal, but doesn't have you working with 30 plus one-to-one people a week because you're stuck in an insurance model. And here's the thing. When you're doing this, when you have a more freedom-based model, you're actually going to be more effective for your people, because I don't know if any of you have gone to practitioners and you knew that they were exhausted. You knew that they were tired. And I've gone to practitioners and I know, oh gosh, this is their fifth class they've taught today. They're just going through the motions. Or they've even said they're mixing up their right and their left. Like they tell you they're tired. They tell you it's their fifth class of the day. Or you've gone to, I've gone to massages where they've told me, oh my God, it's been a grinding week. They told me their client load, like, and I can tell they're tiring. So if you're going for volume, your quality will suffer. And that is a disservice for you, because I know you give high quality care. And it's a disservice for your people, because obviously we don't want that for your people. So you need, if you want to stay with one-to-one, it's great. There's also options to go with group, but you need a scalable model, and it needs to be built around your energy and not someone else's calendar. And I've been exactly where you were. I've thought that having more certifications, in fact, I was a massage therapist for 10 years. I had my own massage office. It was in a spa. And I just remember being like 25 years old and feeling successful because I was fully booked, but I wasn't bringing in the revenue I really wanted. And I was like, but how can I add more? Like I'm already doing 8 massages on a Saturday. I don't want to do more. I can't fit in more massages in 1 week. And plus, I'm only 25 years old. I'm just going to get older and more tired. Like, where do I go from here? So I thought going to school was the answer to that problem. So I went to physical therapy school. It took me 5 years. I had to do 2 years of prereqs and 3 years of graduate school. And I took out 6 figures of loan, and I thought, oh, that's going to solve my problem. But you know what happened is I ended up in a mill clinic where they were high volume insurance based. I was even more exhausted. Now I was working with 30 people a day, and I had 6 figure of student loans debt. One of my paychecks didn't even cover all of my student loans. So it took 2/3 of my monthly salary to pay my student loans, which left me very little to live off of in Southern California. And so I was like in scarcity mode. But I eventually, I'm like, okay, I know that for me, I was been a practitioner of yoga since late 1990s. And I really wanted to bring yoga into my practice. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go for my IAYT. I switched jobs. I worked for my mentor, and who combined yoga and physical therapy and essentially gave me the courage and confidence to do that. And I thought, okay, now I'm going to be happy and not burn out. But you know what happened? I was in another one-to-one back-to-back grind, and I built my mentor's business for her, and I had no way out. I was still struggling to pay down my student loans, just making ends meet. And I was seeing 8 people a day on the hour. And I was like, where do I go from here? Well, I was fired. And because after 8 years of doing that, I got tired. I wasn't the best employee because I was really, striving to make a change in the model, and her business was not there. The model was set up how it was, and she sold her business, and I was let go of at that time. And I say this, you hear me say this on the podcast all the time. I don't recommend this. But I started my business with no savings because I was just coming off maternity leave, and I hustled. I thought getting more certifications, that would bring people in the door. I taught workshop. Here's example day. I had a class in the morning at 7 a.m. I had back-to-back patients. I had a class taught a class at lunch. And then I taught an evening happy back class. And I taught yoga teacher trainings on the weekends. I taught workshops on the weekends. And that was my rhythm. And networking events. Like, I remember I would lead a yoga class at 7:30. I would get home at 10 p.m., which would make my husband upset because I'd wait, he wanted to go to bed. I'd wake up my daughter often because she wanted to say goodnight to me. and we would all, it'd take us a while to, wind down. And then I would have a BNI meeting first thing in the morning at 7 a.m. And that was my grind week after week. I thought that was how you grew a business, because both my parents were entrepreneurs and they hustled, they worked weekends, money was tight and scarce all the time. My mentor and guru, that's how she grew a business. So I thought that's what it was. Like, this, I'm living the dream. Like, I own my own business. Yay. But it was not the dream. I was really tired and burnt out. And what happened is I got a wake-up call. I was diagnosed with a genetic mutation. It's called Lynch syndrome. And in one of my first cancer screens for that, it puts you at high risk for cancers. And on my very first cancer screen, which was just a couple months later, I was diagnosed. Fortunately, it was very early. It was stage 1 rectal cancer. And it opened my eyes to this one precious life that I'm living. And my dad actually, I started talking to my dad, as I was going through, all my cancer procedures, because I was telling him, my business feels really risky. Like, I have to have this surgery. They're telling me I need this other preventative surgery. Like, how am I supposed to, make money if my body is like going through all these procedures and surgeries all the time? Like, I can't show up and teach yoga if I'm supposed to heal for 6 weeks. I can't do body work if I need all these surgeries. And I for sure, can't do my one-to-one schedule, this grind, if I'm supposed to be going to all these procedures and everything. And I remember it was late at night and I was in my office and my dad, told me, he's like, well, Allison, they just told me my cancer's returned. And at that moment, I just remember it being there in the office late at night. And I had this vision of me being in my 60s, having gone through cancers, multiple cancers, and working this grind and missing moments with my daughter, because she would tell me when I come home from a yoga teacher training on a weekend, and she would tell me that she missed me, and she's going to be 18 and I don't want my relationship to be fractured with her. I don't want her generationally to feel like I learned from my parents, like, how you survive is you hustle. And so I knew I wanted to change the pattern. So there was not other practitioners teaching practitioners how to go online at the time. So I went into the coaching world and I learned from the coaching world, and I learned from online gurus like Amy Porterfield. I went to join masterminds. I spent a lot of money and time to learn. And fortunately, I've gotten to teach, like for Amy Porterfield. It's come full circle around now these days, which is very amazing. But I had to learn it. And in this workshop, I'm shortening the learning curve for you, because I don't want you to have to go through all the struggle that I went through. I don't want you to have a major life circumstance to have you awaken to what's actually possible. Because right now, these days, I have a multiple 6-figure business. I take vacation when I want to take vacation. I make my hours based upon, my daughter's school schedule. So I don't work weekends anymore. We go on family adventures. I have healed my relationship that could have been damaged with my daughter because I was never home. My mom, now I've healed the relationship with her because she sees that I'm not hustling, and we've had many conversations about it. And so we've healed our relationship. So you can heal things generationally. You can change patterns from your family. You can earn more money if, money was scarce, and you've inherited, money scarcity patterns that are not yours to carry anymore. And the way is to bring in a hybrid model, to bring in an online program. And if you're not sure what to sell online, or you feel like your hands-on work won't translate online, I understand you. I mean, some of you came in from ads, and you might have noticed that someone commented on one of my ads, like a kind of a troll comment, like laughing, like hands-on work can't be translated online, can't be done online, which is true, right? But here's the thing. Everyone goes to, if you're a massage therapist, they're coming to a massage. They're going to your yoga classes. They're coming to physical therapy for a result. They want functional medicine for a result. And what you need to understand is that you're not trying to replicate your in-person skills online. What you're doing is using your experience, your expertise to help people get results online. And so some of the work is complementary, and sometimes you have to think outside the box. So if you're wondering, how will my hands-on work translate? Or if you've done workshops and people haven't translated to your online program, we're going to go over that now, because some of it is the packaging of your online program. It's not catered towards results, or you might have a block in even creating the online program because you're not sure how you'll get people results, or you're not sure how to market to get people to come into your online program or have them understand the value of an online program. And if you're doing workshops and people aren't converting, then we're going to go over how that can help you too. Because if you're doing workshops and they're not converting, it might be, a few $100s for that 2 hours, or even $1,000 for that 2 hours. I've been there before. But if you can sell 5 people into a $2,000 program off your workshop, that's $10,000. So now you've 10 times your revenue without adding any extra hours. And that's exactly what I've done. So when you have the framework, it's going to solve the problem of you're doing the right things. You just haven't been taught the structure to make it work or to make it click for you. So that's what we're going to go over here, these 3 steps. Number 1, the hands-off online offer framework. We're going to go over your marketing system to get your first 5 online clients. And then, because so many of you do workshops and they can be so successful for you, we're going to go over the workshop to enrollment framework. Okay, so number 1, starting with the offers, creating the offers. Here's why offers don't sell. Often you just try to replicate the session by session online, and that just puts you back in the one-to-one grind, but not now online. And now you're just also overcoming the objection of, well, people don't want to work with me online. They want to get massages. They want to come to the in-person yoga experience. Or you are packaging your online programs where you're charging for the hour instead of for the result, as I was saying. Or the way that you're positioning your online program is like, oh, come work with me online for yoga, for example, or for somatic work, instead of highlighting the outcome that's available for them. What is the transformation specifically that they'll achieve when working with you? So when you actually start creating a program where you're charging for the result, you're offering a specific result, and it's out of that time for money trade, you have the ability to charge for a higher ticket program, anywhere from $1,200 to $5,000. I have clients that charge $5,000 for their online programs. You can still have low ticket offers. It really depends on your audience size. I usually strategize this with my clients, person to person, scenario to scenario. But if you have a smaller audience, staying one-to-one, because your audience is used to it, and scaling in a way at a higher ticket price enables you to hit 5 and 10K months a lot easier and faster. And then you can, as you grow your audience, which I'm going to show you the tools in the marketing lesson, then eventually you can add in a group program as well. And it's a way to help more people earn more revenue, and you'll still have, time freedom for your family and for your life. So here's what's required for the hands-off offer framework. Number 1, you have to identify the result that you're going to help people to achieve. And this is what I workshopped live with people, but you can do it yourself right now. And I want you to consider the clients that you've worked with. What are the results that you've helped achieved? So take a moment and write that down, because that will help. Because sometimes people are like, well, I don't know what I can promise, or I promise a lot of things. But sometimes if you just pause, you'll start to see patterns. Or if it is a lot of things, I'll tell you what to do as well, but just do this right now. And now I want you to consider, okay, so if you have a result or results, that's okay. Just if it's broad, that's fine. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. I want you to consider, though, all your certifications and your expertise. So take a moment to write that down. What are all your certifications? What's your experience? What are the ways and the modalities of how you can help people online? So let me give you some examples, because here's where people often get stuck. So I was a massage therapist, right? So when I worked with people for physical therapy, I was creating a Heal Your Back, Heal Your Low Back Blueprint program. And I knew that when someone came to me, I helped them with their physical body. Yes. So yoga, strengthening, mobility, hands-on fascia work, hands-on joint work. I also worked with their nervous system and mindset and somatic work and energetics. Like, it was based upon the koshas. It was all these layers of healing. So some of the layers easily translate online, like nervous system, somatic work, movement, breath work, visualization, coaching, mindset. My gosh, look at all these tools, right? There's coaches out right now making millions a year just on all that I said, right? And all of you have this ability right now, I guarantee. But where we get stuck is like, well, yes, but the people really want the experience of the yoga room, or people really want the hands-on work. Okay, so I would think to myself, how can I replicate the hands-on work online? I can teach self-massage. I can also, maybe down the road, you don't have to do it now. And I actually, after I brought in an online program, a year later, I got a nutrition certification to just give me more tools to help people get results. You could also do like myofascial release through the foam roll and balls. Like, there's so many ways to teach somatic work, so many ways to teach like getting movement through the fascia and down regulating of the nervous system that doesn't require you actually putting your hands on people. And so that's the program you create, and it's for a specific result. Maybe it's for back pain. Maybe you do it for, you have you help people with many different things. Maybe you help people with menopause. Maybe you help people, yes, with reduced pain, but it's chronic pain. Maybe you help people with gut issues. Maybe you help people get energy and sleep better through the night, right? So you're like, okay, well, what do? I don't want to make a program. I'm not ready to niche down. That's okay. What you can, many of my clients, what they do is they start one-to-one at first, and you can create a program, as I said, where you're bringing in touch points that is not off one-to-one. So you can have a model that looks like this. So if you have a funnel, you have the top of the funnel where you're doing workshops or Instagram or referrals, or you have all these different ways of people to find you. Then someone comes to a consult call, and you're asking them their problems. You're hearing that they want more energy. They have a lot of pain. They're having some GI issues. And you're like, okay, I can definitely help them. Maybe you have functional labs. Maybe you also are a yoga teacher. Maybe you're a licensed practitioner of some sort. So then you say, okay, great. You're a great fit for my one-to-one program. I'll help you achieve, get the results for XYZ. And then you can work with me in my 3-month program that it included within that is 8 sessions, plus you get DM access in between. I'm also going to do your lab tests and give you protocols and specific lab reports based upon your unique physiology. And I have online modules to accompaniment as well. So by doing that, you see that it was a 3-month program. I'm working to meet their specific needs, which might be different than the next consult whose needs are different. But because you're doing one, you can cater the program. It's out of the time for money trade because it's 3 months long, but they only get 8 sessions. But you have a lot of other different touch points to help them along, to help ensure results and progress. You could make it 6 months. You could make it longer if you felt like you needed more time. And then you're going to price it. This is number 4, based upon that result. So let's say you are helping them get more energy, sleep through the night, heal their gut issue. That might be worth you're starting out online $1,500 for 3 months. And you get started, and then eventually you can raise your price. But the more people you work with, sometimes the niche emerges from that, or your price changes, or you change the structure. But here's the thing, a lot of people are just afraid to start and get in there and get dirty and get messy. You just have to start somewhere and get the data from the people coming through. That's why it's better to charge lower in the beginning and raise your prices over time. And learn, and then you evolve the program over time. So that's how you start. And so that is an example of an online program that's broad. You can also start more narrow and help people, perimenopausal women, navigate through the change without gaining weight or losing the weight that they've gained, whatever specific result you want to do. And it can be a group program if you have the audience size for that. You get to decide. So my client Betty, when she first came to me, she's a physical therapist. She was in person and a somatics practitioner. She was really exhausted because she was teaching classes all over town. She was had like partially full one-to-one schedule. She was stuck at a revenue plateau. She wanted to hit 10K plus months, but she didn't really see how she could do that because she felt like she didn't have time for more one-to-one people, even though she wanted more one-to-one people. And she really wanted to bring in an online program, but was really overwhelmed by tech and didn't know where to start. So we did a lot of screen shared. I helped her through the tech. We simplified her marketing systems. We let go of classes that she was just teaching way too many classes. And she kept some that made her happy and feel purposeful because she loved teaching. And we brought in a marketing program, including what to say on Instagram and what to market on Instagram and where to find people. And the result of that was filling her one-to-one practice. She then we then created her online program, and she learned how to teach her first online workshop. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by tech, this will give you a relief. When she first came to me, she didn't even know how to share a Zoom screen. So we worked through all her tech stuff, just step by step. And she taught her first online workshop for $50 and had 30 people come. So that's almost a couple $1,000 there. And then she had her 6-week somatics for the low back program. She was shooting for 10 people, and she actually got 15 people in. So she brought an additional thousands, over $5,000 into her business, not based upon her one-to-one practice. And now she has a repeatable system to do over and over again. And last year she was on the track for her first 6-figure year. She's working on now her books and organizing that, but she was hitting the revenue for a 6-figure year. She definitely increased to her revenue and surpassed her goals and got out of the one-to-one only and class hustle trade. So it is possible even if you're overwhelmed by tech. So, okay, so Step number 2 of this whole system is marketing. So when you have your offer, which I help a lot of clients to create, then you have to get out there in the world and let people know that it exists. So you need a marketing system. And here's where I see a lot of people make a lot of mistakes is number one, on social media, they're only teaching tips, or in their workshops, they're only teaching tips, and they don't have a conversion system, or they don't even have a system or a plan for social media in general. So they're hoping and praying, or social media is taking a lot of time. Some clients, when they first start with me, they come to me and one reel will take 3 hours. Um, or you don't have systems that allow you to not rely 100% on social media if you don't want to be on social media all the time. I have many clients that do bring in clients from social media and go viral, and I'll share their stories. But I also have clients that they more market in their local community, and I'll share their stories as well. But regardless, you need a system, and your messaging, you need to know what to say, not in practitioner language, to have those clients understand the value of your online program. So you're not getting the objection of, well, I think I just need a massage. I don't really want to work with you online. And instead, they're realizing the value. They're pre-sold from your Instagram before they come to your consult call. They understand the work that you do and the results that you get before they come to your workshop. So you want a marketing system that attracts your ideal client without taking up all the time, and it's reliable and consistent. You want to have a plan for if you're showing up at networking events. If you are doing workshops, we're going to break down a little bit more. If you're showing up on podcast guests, you want to make sure you have a plan for conversion. And if you are doing consult calls, you want to make sure they understand what it is that you do and how you can help them before they even get to the call, because consult calls will never be a waste of your time when you're getting more yeses. So my client Katie, when she first came to me, she was marketing on Instagram, but she wasn't seeing a lot of traction or growth. She was stuck at 2,000 followers for a long time, and in fact, she had hired a marketing agency to put up content because she thought they would do a better job for her. And you can see right here, her niche is pretty broad, and that's okay. And we kept this broad niche, but what we did was we got more specific in each piece of content, because when the marketing agency, her account was crickets when she let go of the marketing agency, and when she came to me, we turned that around. So we got very specific on each piece of content, was in the client's language, and was speaking to a specific problem that a client had, even though her niche was general. And when we did that over time, she found that, oh my gosh, she started to take off. And she found out that, you can see her bio has changed here some, that her audience loved hearing about her talking about trauma. She loved teaching about trauma and working with people with trauma. And so her niche began to narrow down herself. So this is what I'm saying. The more you show up and get out there and just try and get messy in your online program and in your marketing, the niche, if you want, will narrow itself down. You don't have to think hypothetically behind the screen and waste time trying to decide your niche. You can actually get out there and make money and do it. And so she gained, in just 3 months, she grew to 5,000 followers. And actually, where she is now, you can look her up. She's real person on Instagram. She's at almost 30,000 followers. And last year she hit her first 6-figure year. My client Allie here is a Gestalt practitioner and coach. And she came to me with 1,500 followers on her personal account and was just posting random things. She had no strategy or plan. And what we did, a similar thing, is figured out the problem that she's solving for her audience. It took a little trial and error. She again started broad, and then she landed upon this format that worked for her, of really specific messaging of specific problems happening in relationships day to day. And she started going viral. She's had multiple reels pop off at she just had another one that hit 2 million views. This, you can see here, is at 1.5 million, almost a million here, that eventually did cross the million mark. This one went up to like 700,000, and she grew from 1,500 followers. She now has 8,000 followers in just 6 weeks. And she's getting consults now and actually signing clients. So things can change quickly when you know what to say on Instagram. Your messaging is clear and specific to the client's problems that they want solved. So when you're going to market for your online program, you can market in person. I'll show you another client who is more in-person based. You can market in person and online for your online program, but you need a system, and you need to know messaging that will connect to grow your audience, as well as messaging that is going to convert your audience. And you can do it. You can do networking events in person. You can, do meetups in person. You can tap into your local community, and you can do it online with Instagram. There's so much potential on Instagram. I love Instagram because I can do it in the pockets of my time. Like when I go to pick up my daughter from one of her practices or a play day, and if I'm early, I can connect with people on Instagram and grow easily in pajamas, versus trying to chase down referrals through lunch and learns where doctors just take your free meals. I find Instagram connecting with people a lot more enjoyable when you actually know what to say. And my account was crickets for a time because I was too much in practitioner language. And it was really, my account was dead for a while. And if I can, you can see I've had 3,000 posts. I've been on Instagram a long time. And if I can turn it around, and I've been growing just the last like 2 years, I've grown more than doubled my audience from where it was before. And I still don't have a massive audience. And if I can hit multiple six figures with my small audience size, then you can do. I'm not a special snowflake. I don't spend all day, every day on Instagram. I work between the hours of like 9 and 4 Fridays. I take an early half day. I don't work weekends. I know I can create several posts, my week worth of posts, in under 90 minutes. And right now, you can look at my account. I have views. I just had a reel that had 40,000. I have reels that have 25,000 views. That is way more views than larger accounts with like 200,000 followers, and I'm converting and signing clients from Instagram. So it is totally possible. Okay, so this is where now part 2, the video of part 2 now picks off. So you can head to the second video and watch the rest and hear that client's story of how she only posts, she's on Instagram, so she's relevant, so she's searchable. People do land on her account and book consults, but she primarily markets in more of her local community. And she lives in a small town. So you can head to video 2 to hear that story, and then get more about workshops next.